Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering Monster House. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. I realized we kept our tea out.
Yeah, I just realized that too.
Oh well. We're doing a repeat, as is obvious to those video watchers. I am drinking the Republic of Tea Brain Boost, which has green tea, ginkgo, green tea matcha, and ginkgo powder.
You know what's funny?
Huh.
I actually almost chose that one before this.
It's a good one. Like, honestly, between the two, they're very similar, but I would like it. Like, I think, this one actually uses matcha powder.
Mm-hmm.
I would still recommend using actual matcha powder, but it's a good, like, if I need to be quick, I don't want to do the whisk and all of that. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I'm drinking Republic of Tea's honey ginseng green tea.
It's a good one, too.
And it's got green tea, natural flavors, linden blossoms, a word that I am not going to try to pronounce, and Panax ginseng.
But thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our lovely tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, the summary of Monster House. Every kid in the neighborhood is scared of Old Man Nevercracker, but once he goes to the hospital, they find out there's more to his house than it appears. So for entertainment on this one, I give it, this is as high as I can give it, a 6.75. Really, like, I like the animate, well, no, let me back up.
Uh-huh.
I like the storyline.
There you go.
To this movie. The animation can go die in a dumpster fire because it's taken me a really long time to watch this movie, and this is the first time I have watched the movie all the way through. I did try and watch the movie one other time, but the animation is so uncanny valley to me, where it's like they're trying to make it realistic but still very cartoony, but it's just like realistic enough that's like really like eerie and uncomfortable. And so it's really because of the animation itself that I really struggled getting through this movie, because it was like, it just creeped me out. Mm-hmm. So I would not recommend for for kids if like if an adult can't watch it. But anyways, but yeah, the animation is like a bit unnerving to me. But I will say the horror imagery is really good. Like the shadow of the house creeping through the main character's like bedroom. I thought that was a really cool effect. How creepy they make the old man come off at first. It's like one of those things where I'm like, is it the animation that makes it look creepy, or is it them like actually trying to make it look creepy? They did do a good job of making the house look creepy and haunted.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So obviously, like, there's parts of the movie where I'm like, okay, obviously they wanted that to be more like horror themed than just like the animation itself. And maybe they did the animation on purpose. I don't know. Another thing though that didn't hit that well for me, aside from the animation, is the comedy didn't really hit for me. There's only like one joke out of the whole movie that really made me chuckle, but besides that, all of what they would be like, it's supposed to be funny, I was just like, okay, like it didn't really hit for me at all.
Yeah.
I will say I did like the house's personality. Yes. And the mischievous personality it has, and like, it's just chaotic energy, and I was living for it. And I did think it was interesting, the twist in the movie, where it's like, first you're like, oh, this old man like really hates kids, and he's just like, you know, trying to protect his lawn. But then you find out, no, his house is being haunted by his dead wife, and he's actually protecting people or kids against like the house. Is like that was an interesting twist. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that expanded and made the movie feel a little bit more like it wasn't just like it made it more interesting, for sure.
There was more depth to it.
Yes. And then his backstory, I did find that kind of interesting and unique. And then I did like the house design at the end where like the trees were arms. That was kind of cool and interesting how it like transformed like that. And then also I also found it relieving that the kids actually had distinct personalities. So not only did they physically look very different from each other, but like just like hearing them talk, you could immediately know whose is who because their personality was that distinct from each other. And so it's cool to not only be able to easily tell them apart, but also like see how they work together despite being like so different. But yeah, it's like, for me, I don't need to watch this movie again just because the animation makes it too difficult. And then with that on top of the jokes that just didn't hit for me, it's like the storyline doesn't quite carry it through that. It's like I might watch the movie like once in a great while because the storyline is interesting. But besides that, this movie doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. There's a lot more, there's stronger movies out there like Paranorman, which we just reviewed last week, or Frankenweenie, like those types of, or The Nightmare Before Christmas. Coraline is like, there's so many other like horror kid movies out there that have better animation, better story, all of that. Is like this one kind of like fades in the background, and that's why it took me so long to watch this movie. But it's like I just kept on seeing it pop up, and I was like, well, I'll give it a try. But yeah, it's a good movie, but it's not a great one for me. So
I agree. I give it a 6.
Okay. Even lower than me.
Yeah. It's just an okay movie.
Mm-hmm.
The animation really does bother me.
Did it make it hard for you to get through it too?
A little.
The animation?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I had seen it before a few times, but it's just...
I don't know why it's just like nightmare fuel.
A little bit, yeah. It's just subpar compared to like Paranorman or Coraline or Nightmare Before Christmas or...
Which I think Paranorman and Coraline came at least within a couple of years of Monster House.
I think so, yeah.
And that's why I don't understand. It's like the animation feels almost more like 90s, where it's like still like on the freaky level.
Yeah.
But it's a more recent movie.
Yeah. So, the storyline is decent, but I feel like the execution was off a little bit. Like, the comedy could have been better. The storyline itself could have been a little stronger. There were just certain things about the characters that didn't make that much sense, or different choices plotline wise that didn't make that much sense, and there were certain things of convenience or movies got a movie, so we'll get to a lot of those in the realism, I'm sure, but it's just all in all a background movie to me.
Yeah, and I don't know if you picked up on this, but it's like the movie starts almost like so dark, but then, like, the ending is almost, like, not light enough to push it through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it's just, like, the overall tone of the movie, but it's, like, something, I don't know. It just doesn't...
There's not as much resolution as you feel like there should be.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I agree. But it's one that... I feel like it's for a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
And we're just not those people. It's all right, and I'll have it on in the background occasionally while I'm doing something else, but it's not really going to be one that I'm going to pay that much attention to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They also can't do teenagers in this animation style very well.
Yeah, the babysitter and then her boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah, the boyfriend looked like he was in his 50s. Seriously.
Yeah, like...
He looked like a middle-aged dude. Kind of sounded like it too, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A high middle-aged dude, but a middle-aged dude nonetheless. Just saying.
This movie has some problems.
A little bit, yeah.
But for realism, I would rate this... This one's another, like... All of these, like, kids' movies are so hard to rate. But I guess a lot of horror movies, because that seems to be a repeating theme.
A little bit, yeah.
But I think 1.5 is the highest I can give it. I think the kids being terrified of a neighbor is completely like within the realm of realism, because it's like there's always that, like, I remember as a kid there's always that one house where it's like there's this neighbor that's kind of to themselves, and sometimes
just a little off.
Yeah, they're a little off, and because of that, like, you know, kids they have, you know, huge imaginations, and so they'll start coming up with stories and all of these things that kind of like spreads. And so it's like you kind of have that one house that's like, oh, you don't want to go in front of them. Or, I mean, there are the neighbors that even though they're maybe more pleasant to the adults, to the kids are like, stay off my grass. And they get really mad if you like play in their yard. Not going to lie, I'm kind of one of those people.
Or God forbid one of your toys accidentally lands on their lawn.
Yeah. Yeah. And they like freak out. It's like, okay, Karen.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Just get my ball and I'll be on my way.
Yeah. For me, it was kids playing like soccer in our yard, because it's like they had their own yard, and then they also had a backyard and a park within like less than 5 minutes walking distance, which I mean, I can understand if the parents want like the kids to be close, but it's just like I can, you're literally like interrupting, like, because our walls are thin here. So it's like you can hear everything outside, and then hearing like talking like right at our window. It's like, please, you have other options. Please choose other places. But anyways, they've gotten old enough that they don't do that anymore. So I'm like, yes, they get to be inside hermits like the rest of us. But the babysitter taking advantage of the main character, and like that situation where it's like, you know, she's in a higher position than him, and so she's like, you know, I'm going to go do my own thing, and if you don't listen to me, then I'm going to tell your parents that, you know, you broke this, blah blah blah. You know, it's like, since she's in the higher authority or higher position in that situation, like she's assuming that the parents will believe her. Can totally see that, because people take advantage of power a lot. One thing that I will say, some of the characters that hit the least well for me were the two cops.
Yes.
Like they did a lot of the jokes, and that just didn't hit. Like one cop was like super like trigger happy, and they also
he was a newbie.
He was a newbie, yes.
He was overeager.
But it's like these preteen, early teen, or like they're at least young enough to need a babysitter. It's like they were like threatening these kids. And so, and just in general, like with the house and like how they approached like the situation as a whole, they made the cops too dumb. But not to the point where it was enjoyable as a part of the comedy. It was just like, why did you have these two characters? Like, the movie would probably be better without those two characters, because they didn't really seem to add anything to the movie, to be honest.
They didn't.
And then, like, the kids' interactions with each other, like, them, like, kind of picking on each other and, having their like conflicting personalities, and so I thought the interactions felt genuine and real. I feel like the parents though were the main character's parents were like too oblivious.
Oh yeah.
To stuff.
Oh yeah. Especially with his mom noticing like every little thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is hard to rate. Because nothing is really very accurate in this movie. I'm going to give it a 1.5. And that's as high as I'm going to go.
But it's like as far as
it's
like
just,
the kid interactions and
like yeah, the kid interactions and like watching the house and taking notes, like he feels like he's on to something that I can get. God, Star 69 is such an archaic concept now. Most people don't even have landlines anymore.
Yeah. Which I feel like at the time the movie came out, landlines weren't that much of a thing either.
They weren't much of a thing.
But there's still like a few
but yeah,
groups of people that, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember seeing a single cell phone in this entire movie.
Yeah. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
That's what makes it scary.
Interactions between the kids were mostly okay and genuine. Again, the comedy just falls short. It's just subpar. Them getting in the cop car, like the cops telling them you're going to jail and all, was definitely a movie's got a movie moment, because that's how they got into the house.
Yeah.
Was the house bit off half the car.
Yeah.
So definitely a movie's got a movie moment. You could have done better. There were so many other ways they could have gotten in the house.
Yeah.
That didn't involve a cop car getting chomped in half. But,
Well, it's like they had a plan for the house to fall asleep, and then it's like they could have just stuck with that, and maybe it wasn't strong enough because it's a ginormous house or.
Well, I appreciate that later on they brought that little tidbit back into the movie. Like, we tried to put a house to sleep with cold medicine. Who does that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that at least you brought attention to it so we didn't have to.
Yeah.
But it was just everything. Nothing makes that much sense. And the fact that her body was still there in the concrete? No. 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 And now this dude no longer has a house. But it's fine. This is fine. No one's going to question where it went. All the destruction on the street. Also,
where it went.
No one was trying to find Chowder, his best friend, the whole night he was gone while they were watching the house. The dad called the friend in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was it.
The parents aren't very good in this movie.
They're really not. They're really not.
They need to do better.
Yes. And the girl's mom didn't believe her, but didn't come pick her up either. And didn't question that she was there that whole time. Just like, no, I'll pick you up when you're done. This is fine.
I forgot to write this down, but I did like the interaction between the babysitter and the girl. That was kind of, that was the one scene that made me kind of chuckle.
Yes.
Because, like, the girl was, like, playing with the babysitter as much as, it was great.
How the babysitter's like, nice try, it's not my house.
Yeah, I like their
babysitter.
bantering.
Yeah. All right, let's cut to the chase here. So that was cool. But everything else just, and yeah, it was cool that he was part of a demolitions crew, but why did he have actual explosives in the house?
Yeah, that seems risky.
That was another movie's got a movie moment.
Yeah.
So, when there was a construction site nearby. But okay.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of conveniences and subpar execution and just... I can't with this movie. I can't.
Yeah, like, overall, it's an okay, like, preteen horror movie. And it's got it's got a creative story, but there's just so many other, like, preteen or kid horror movies out there that are so much
there's
stronger.
So many better ones.
Yeah, this one's kind of...
Yeah.
I wouldn't say bottom of the barrel necessarily, but it's like below tier.
There are worse ones. But yeah, it's definitely subpar.
Yep. But thank you for joining us today and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
If you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea, it just allows us to continue to do what we love. And until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye!
Bye.